So guess what? You all know who Corey Lewandowski is, right? He was the campaign manager for Donald Trump. He's really just a strong arm, kind of a knucklehead. Guess what? He got hired at CNN. He got fired from the Trump campaign. And CNN hired him like a couple days later. Couldn't wait. I don't know if you know Corey Lewandowski has banned anybody who writes a negative story about Donald Trump. They ban them. They take their press credentials away. They did it to Political. They did it to the Washington Post. They take their press credentials away. You wrote about any story we don't like.
Yeah, they did it to the Des Moines Register, too. Although I was thinking that he might have been confused and thought that outlet was in Illinois and he was still mad at Chicago. I can't prove that, but I think that might have been what that was about.
I bet you're right.
And he didn't let the Guardian in Scotland recently. He didn't want them on the golf course. Yeah, the Guardian. He didn't want them.
And this guy, so that he does that, and when you cover his campaign rallies, they put the press in a pen. And they don't let him leave. Like, go do reporting, go talk to people, find stories. They don't stay there. And if you don't, they take your credentials away. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. I was there. And he also assaulted a female reporter for Breitbart. Remember that? And he got charged. And the district attorney didn't didn't take it to court, but he did get charged.
Well, she was scared too because she started getting death threats.
Yes,
from
of
Trump
course,
supporters.
and that's when Breitbart stood by him, the Trump campaign, and and a bunch of people from Breitbart resigned over this. And so here's a guy who's physically threatening reporters, barring them from covering. Guy couldn't be more of a fascist when it comes to the free press of America. And CNN decided, hey, you know what? He'd be great on our news shows. We should have that. We should pay him money to come talk on our. We need his message. We need to get CNN. I think it stands for ratings over responsibility. CNN. Let me just say this. At least Trump eventually fired Lewandowski, showing that a racist demagogue has more decency than CNN.
Well, let's not forget, too, this guy has a non-disclosure agreement with Trump, and it includes, like, some anti-disparagement. This is the equivalent, like, CNN hiring this guy. This is like an NFL team hiring a cornerback, but then being like, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to cover anybody on the other team, but they hire him because he might sell some jerseys. Oh, and he's a problem in the locker room,
and he's a
too.
problem.
That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. And Jeff Zucker doesn't care.
So this is how the Fair blog, they cover media. That's how they covered it. They said Lewandowski hire makes journalists choose between defending their profession and embracing its demise. So here's how the USA Today has a media critic. And this is what the USA Today media critic had to say about this hiring. They said that it encapsulates the utter bankruptcy of a practice that is awful, but nevertheless has become a widely accepted part of the scene. Why CNN thinks it's a good idea to have such designated defenders for any candidate of any political stripe is completely lost on me. That's from the USA Today media critic saying, why do you bring out a guy who's nothing more than a mouthpiece for a political organization? He's not going to give you insight. He's not going to give you honesty. What he's going to do is give you propaganda and spin. Why? But that's the new. But CNN thinks it might get a rating.
Yeah, it's name recognition.
Rating over responsibility. So we all know what they're not really doing news over there. So and here, USA Today goes on and says at least some of the talking heads have deep political resumes and have witnessed many aspects of the campaign process. But that's hardly the case with Lewandowski. His background is largely as a Trump guy, and not so much as a strategist. Trump is his own strategist or deep thinker, but as a right-hand man, a body man, and an enforcer. That's who Lewandowski was. So there is little reason to suspect Lewandowski will add much insight and perspective to the political dialogue, said Rem Writer, USA Today. So what you're saying also is that he signed a non-disclosure. So what you're saying is Trump has people sign papers that say, if you ever say anything disparaging about me or the campaign or anything you saw here, you will be sued. And if you sign this paper, you'll agree to that.
We don't even know everything that's in the non-disclosure. Like,
Right.
we don't know everything. We know that that's definitely a part of it. There's an anti-disparagement part of it.
That's
He
definitely
admitted to that.
Lewandowski signed a non-disclosure. Yeah. So anyway, so here, but great hire, CNN. Fantastic. That's great. Nice work. Completely. So here we go. That's how the USA Today media critic saw it. I wonder how the CNN media critic saw it. Do you think the CNN media critic saw it the same way as Rem Ryder of the USA Today? I wonder if let's see.